Well, we're very familiar with this passage of the gospel of the Prodigal Son, and all of us love the first half. Most of us can't stand the second half. And the reason we can't stand the second half is because we're stuck in the second half. Too often we Christians are arrogant, haughty, thinking of ourselves as above everyone else because we know Jesus. But do you really know Jesus? You say you know Jesus. Do you know Jesus? And that question is for myself as well. That question is for the Pope. The question is for absolutely everyone who walks the face of the earth. And herein lies the principle, I think, of the gospel. From the minute we're born to the day we die, we're on a journey. And this road we're on, like the prodigal son and the second son, who is also a prodigal son, he needs to get off his high horse and come down to God. The first one needs to come to his senses and realize that God will always be there for him while he walks this earth. If he wants God to be with him, he has to come to his senses and turn to the Lord. And on this path that we walk, there are potholes, there's edges to it. You know, I take my walk every day out here in the path, and the county decided that on the rainiest day, they were going to drive the truck through the middle of the path. And as everything dried up, there's these big ruts in the path. Doesn't make it very easy. So I pray for the people from McHenry County who did that, instead of cursing them for making me almost break my ankle every time I go for a walk. And so we know that it's going to be difficult along the way. We're going to be in high points and low points. We're going to find things that really give us great joy and happiness. There's going to be things in our life where we're the reason why it's not going well, not God. God allows it because we choose it, because we're free to choose. So we're on this journey. And so this young man says in pride, I'm owed this. Give it to me now. There's no foresight. He's so greedy. He's so selfish. He can't see beyond himself. He can't be in tune with God so that God can give him an impulse to let him know that life isn't going to be as sweet as it right now. That there's going to be famine in the country. And so this young man isn't prepared for it. He has to learn the hard way. He has to come to his senses. He's not owed anything. He has no right to anything. He's a privileged little snot who needs to come to his senses. And when he finally comes to his senses, he says, at least my dad will give me a sandwich, even though I've been a twit and unworthy of any of his love, which is one of the problems in our spiritual life. We think that no matter how dark it can get, in some of the darkest moments of our life, that we can't be forgiven, that God doesn't love us, that we're not lovable. And that's completely false. No matter how far we move from God, we're lovable to him. What he created, he called good. We're good, basically. But we are inclined to evil, which is our Catholic theology. Now the second son, he's got the opposite problem. He's got a similar problem that he thinks he's owed stuff. Because he's good. Because he does all the things God wants him to do. Whatever his father tells him to do, he goes and does it. He never complains, doesn't grumble, doesn't talk about anything. He never sins. Except while he's sitting on the horse, ripping his dad for welcoming the son who spent all his money on prostitutes. In that lofty position, he judges God. I have a right to a better mansion in heaven. Boy, if I'm so good, unlike that other person over there who's a slob, my place in heaven's probably going to be really good. Now with that attitude, you'll be lucky you get a doghouse. And so our attitudes are on both of these extremes and somewhere in the middle stands God. He's saying, you're good, but in your freedom you are prone to do evil. But in either case, I will love you. Until the day you breathe your last in this world, there's always a chance to come to the Father for a good meal, for an act of love, for a positive experience that's going to take away all the past, because he was lost and now is found. Now, we don't hear what the second son says. We don't know if he actually repents from his bad behavior. He abused his father the same way the first son did. Well, we don't like to hear that, but we do. That's what we do to God. We abuse him, expecting more from him than we have any right to. If you're behaving, doing good, and striving not to sin, guess what? You're doing what's expected of you. There's no special grace in that. The grace and mercy of God floods when we start straying. And so it's important for us to understand that God's love is one of consequence and responsibility. And along this road that we walk, we are so privileged to have ancestors who have made it. We call them the saints. The ones who also struggled. The ones also striven to do what's good. If you read the lives of the saints, and many of the saints, they'll talk about how greedy they are. Shock. They'll talk about how selfish they are. Shock. They'll talk about how arrogant they can be. Shock. Guess what? The saints were human beings like you and I. Except they actually made it. In the midst of all their struggles, they came to their senses and realized that they were good, that they were worthwhile, that God forgives, his mercy flows, and his grace is his gift. And despite that all, if they kept turning their heart to the Lord, they're no longer lost, but found. So on this Laetare Sunday, joyful Sunday, little over the halfway mark, we taint our Lenten experience with some joy. We say to ourselves, hope is the anchor of life. Hope is what gets us through. Hope and trust that what God says is true and he doesn't lie. And he means what he says. And all he expects of us is that we come to our senses and that we turn our hearts. Whether we're abusing God from a lofty, arrogant position, a privilege, or from a fallen position that needs to be picked up. And so the story of the prodigal son is probably one of the best parables in the scriptures. It's very pleasing, that first half. The second half is where we get stuck, because we get confused. We forget that although we're basically good, we are prone to evil. And God knows that. That's why when Jesus came back from the dead, the very first thing he did is the sacrament of confession. And so we have some saints here, those who made it, those who came to their senses. And so we reverence that example. We don't pray to the saints the way our Protestant brothers and sisters confuse it. They wouldn't be Protestants anymore if they would reverence the saints. They'd be Catholics again. Yeah, wouldn't that be great? Maybe what we should do is take the relics of all the saints and put them in all the Protestant churches around the world. Just dig them into the foundation. Boy, talk about mass conversion back to the true faith. Wouldn't that be great? Keep me really, 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 really busy. So you'll have the privilege after Mass to be able to come and reverence the relics. And I did put out a few scapulars. You can unwrap those, and if you want to use that, and then put scapular on. Some of the key ones, of course, is the Shroud of Turin over here. All I ask is that you not manhandle the relics, okay? Just touch them. And of course, relics of the true cross. Some of the apostles, St. Stephen, St. Peter, the first pope of the church, St. Stephen, the first martyr of the church, St. Mark, the apostle of the Lord. So this is a little relic of a piece of the Shroud of Turin, and it's bloodstained. There are many who believe that is Jesus and his burial cloth. It's not required for you to believe that, but it's a wonderful thing. And of course, the robe of the Blessed Virgin Mary, her mantle. And over here in this little cross is also a relic of the robe of St. Joseph. And of course, many, many other things. Also, there's a brick here from the house of the Blessed Virgin Mary, in Loretto, and where she lived. Who knows? She may have walked on it or touched it, and you have that privilege to touch it as well. So the saints and the relics, of course, are from myself. A couple of the key ones are from Father Fontana, so we're grateful for him and what he gave. So reverence them. It's one time. The next time we'll put all this out will be on All Saints' Day for people to have that privilege as well. So I hope you'll take advantage of that, and that it will continue to help you in your journey on that road that can either cause us to fall, but grace will give us the courage to come to our senses, or to think we're too lofty for that grace because we're so good.